Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this session, we shall be discussing the polarities of various trigonometric ratios in all the four quadrants, and while doing so, we shall see that what are the values of various trigonometric ratios that we would get for different values of theta. So let's start. Now, as you would see that there is a diagram that I have made here, and the diagram basically refers to, you would see that this is the XY plane. If I refer to the first diagram in which we are coming across the Cartesian plane. So we have drawn the Cartesian plane, and in that I have drawn a rectangle, and then followed by a circle. So this is basically a two-dimensional representation in which I have drawn a rectangle on the Cartesian plane along with a circle. Now what are we going to do? So before I tell that, let me introduce the concept of BPH. Now when I say BPH, B refers to base, P refers to the perpendicular, and H refers to the hypotenuse. For the sake of reference, I am drawing a right angle triangle on the right hand side so that we are able to understand what is the context of BPH. So this is my perpendicular, this arm is known as the base, and this arm is known as the hypotenuse. And let me label the vertices of the right angle triangle as X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now we are already aware of the fact that H square, the hypotenuse square, is equal to a B square plus a P square, which is the square of the base plus the square of the perpendicular. Right? We are already aware of this. Now let me refer, and here before I refer to this diagram, let me take the values, the various values of theta here. So these are the values of theta that I am going to take here. So let's say here, starting off with the 0 degree. So theta here is 0 degree. Now even before I tell that, let me introduce what is theta here. Even before that, can I say that if I have to represent this BPH on the Cartesian plane, how will I represent this? Let us say this is the positive side of the x-axis, which I am taking it as plus side of the base. This I will treat it as the hypotenuse. This positive side of the y-axis, I am taking it as plus P. This is the negative side of x-axis. This is the same positive H line that we have drawn. This is the negative side of the y-axis, which will be termed as minus P. Here, this is positive side of the H, which is the hypotenuse. What is theta here? Now for theta, I am going to use a green color. So let us first talk about, so before I do that, let me take this point of intersection as O. Now O here becomes the point of intersection of both the real x and y axis. And thereafter, now what I am saying basically is, let us say how many seconds do we have. I hope you are aware of what a second is. So if I say the first, now let me first say this is my second, this is the first second. Let me take this value as theta. Thereafter, I know that the positive B and the positive P make an angle of how much? They make an angle of 90 degrees. So this angle becomes 90 minus theta. Now we know that if I consider this triangle and this triangle, so for a better understanding, let me label the triangles as well. For example, let me say that this is X, this is Y, this point is Z, and let's say this is U. And this I am talking about the vertex points of the rectangle that I have drawn. I repeat, the rectangle X, Y, U, Z is the rectangle that I am talking about. And then let me label some more points here. So let's say this point is V and this point is W. Now the point that we need to understand here is OW is equal to OV. So some element of geometry would be used. So you would see that in all the sessions of trigonometry, there are some prerequisites, and the prerequisites are geometry and coordinate geometry. The basics of geometry and coordinate geometry should be known to you. At the same time, can we say that O let me take this as P, let me take this as R, and let me take this vertex as, let me say this point as S. So can we say that OR is equal to OS? Of course, using some properties of a rectangle. So can we say that the triangle, so now we are referring to the triangle, so can we say that the triangle OYR is congruent to the triangle OXV? You can use any property, any criteria for proving whether these two triangles are congruent or not. So the criteria that you can use here is either SSS, which is triple S, SAS, double AS, or ASA. Incidentally, here we can use any one of them. Okay, now once you are able to say this, so now let me just complete the angles so that we are able to discuss the trigonometry aspect in them. So can I say further on, if I move on the circumference of the circle, the first part of the circumference was angle theta, the second part of the circumference was 90 minus theta, because the angle ROW is equal to 90 degrees. The third part, now once I have proved that these two seconds are equal, which is just like saying the triangle OYR is congruent to the triangle OXR. So instead of saying that this is OXV, let me call it as OXR. Okay, so once we have done this, now let us take this angle as 90 minus theta. Now if this angle is 90 minus theta, so in that case the remaining angle, so if we talk about the angle XOV, that becomes 90 minus 90 minus theta, which becomes equal to theta again. So now the fourth part of the circumference, this angle is theta. Now the fifth part here again, now we can use the property of vertically opposite angle. So once I know that this angle is vertically opposite, I am talking about the angle YOW is vertically opposite to the angle VOZ. So in that case, this angle also becomes theta, and thereafter now you can use the vertically opposite angle properties to say that even this angle is 90 minus theta, followed by the angle which now this arc, the 7th arc, makes with the center again is 90 minus theta. And finally the arc, the 8th arc, which is given rise to, if I extend the triangle OWV, OWU. So even this angle would be theta. Once we know this, so which direction are we using? We are using the property which we have already discussed in the earlier session, which is anti-clockwise motion. Now once we know this, it becomes very easy to decipher. If I know sine and cos, I can decipher the remaining trigonometric ratios also in terms of the values which they take for various values of theta. At the same time, we will be able to decipher the polarity of their values as well. So coming back to BPH, now theta is equal to 0 degree and theta lying between a 0 degree to a 90 degree. Next, we can take theta is equal to a 90 degrees, followed by theta is greater than 90 degrees but lesser than 180 degrees. The next value of theta that we can take here is theta is equal to 180 degrees. I hope by now you would have understood that the value of theta is nothing but the angle which the so-called line makes with the positive direction of x-axis. For this, it will be better that you see all the sessions that we would have taken in the correct order. Next, theta becomes equal to 270 degrees. So when theta lies between a 270 degrees and 360 degrees. Now when you are doing this for the very first time, it is then only that it takes time to understand. Once you have done it and practiced it over a period of time, it becomes so easy that you just have to draw PBH in the 4 quadrants and it becomes very easy for you to find out that sine is positive, negative in which quadrants. Cos is positive, negative in which quadrants. And when you know sine and cos, it becomes very easy to decode tan, cosec, sec and cot. Okay, now when we say that theta is equal to 0 degrees, in that case what are we trying to convey? We are trying to convey that there is no such angle made. So we are talking about angle WOY being equal to a 0 degree. In that case, no height would be given rise to. Height means what? Perpendicular. But in this case, the base is positive. Let's say if this is plus b, the value of the hypotenuse will also be plus b. Correct? Now, so let me put the value of cos and sine also simultaneously if we are able to calculate their values as well. Let me first complete the table of BPH. Please remember that BPH is going to be very important for further discussions, and if you would have seen other sessions also, there also we have talked about the concept of BPH being very, very important for you, whether it is trigonometry or you can talk about this concept in other topics as well when we talk about geometry and coordinate. Okay. So when theta is between a 0 degree and a 90 degree, in that case we are talking about the first quadrant. Let me write down the first quadrant here. Analogously, this becomes my second quadrant. This becomes the third quadrant. This here basically is decided by the value of theta. And if the value of theta is between 270 degrees to a 360 degrees, that means we are talking about the fourth quadrant. Now quadrant, I am representing it by a QD. Okay, so now when I say theta, so can I say that in the first quadrant, just referring to this diagram that we have drawn on the Cartesian plane, both P and B are positive? and so is H. Now when I say theta is equal to 90 degrees, that means we are only talking about the perpendicular, which is positive here. There is no base that we have drawn, and the value of the hypotenuse also is plus b. In the second quadrant, you would see that the perpendicular is positive, base is negative, and hypotenuse is positive. Third quadrant, before we move on to the third quadrant, theta being equal to 180 degrees, you will see that the base is negative. It's only base that we are talking about. There is no perpendicular aspect to it, which is why the value of the perpendicular would be equal to a 0. The hypotenuse will again be equal to minus b in this case. Okay, now when we move on to the third quadrant, let us see. In the third quadrant, both b and p are negative, but the hypotenuse is positive. Now, before I go ahead, we had seen that when theta was equal to 180 degrees, in that case, we knew that the value of the base is negative. I mean, when we are talking about the value and the polarity both. Now, why did we take the value of the hypotenuse also as negative is because there is no hypotenuse angle also which is given rise to here. Okay, so when we move forward, we will see that have we put the value of hypotenuse as minus b, which is correct. Okay, when theta is equal to 270 degrees, we are basically again talking about only the perpendicular. There is no base to it, and hypotenuse becomes equal to the perpendicular. Now in the fourth quadrant, the base is positive, perpendicular is negative, followed by hypotenuse, which is positive. And when we talk about theta being equal to 360 degrees, that means we have come on to the line segment OW once again. So we are talking about the line segment OW, wherein there is no perpendicular aspect to it. The base is positive, let's say it is plus b. So is the hypotenuse. Okay, now let's quickly see that. Let us first see that now when we are talking about the first quadrant, thereafter we are talking about the second quadrant, third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. So let us see when we are talking about the first quadrant, in that case, and then we will talk about the other values also. So let me just complete this for you. Okay, so how much should be cos 0? Now we know that cos involves b and h. So let me first write it down here. Cos involves b and h, and sine involves p and h. Now it becomes very easy for you to find out that the various trigonometric ratios of sine and cos in the four quadrants will be positive or negative. Now we know that in the first quadrant all three of them are positive, so sine and cos, both of them would be positive in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, you would see that cos becomes negative, sine is still positive. In the third quadrant, now cos is using b and h, so it is negative, and sine is using p and h, so even that is negative. In the fourth quadrant, so you just have to multiply their polarities to take it to the next level. You just have to multiply their polarities so that you are able to understand it in a better manner. Okay, so now if I multiply b into p, it should be negative in the last quadrant. So why are we multiplying B and P? We are supposed to multiply B and H, right? So B into H is positive and P into H is negative. So from here you'll find out that cos is positive in the first and the fourth quadrant, and in the remaining two quadrants the values of the various ratios of cos that you would be getting would be negative. Thereafter sine, if you have to find out, would be positive in the first and the second quadrant, and in the third and the fourth quadrant you would see that the various values of the trigonometric ratios of sine would be negative. I hope you would have understood it by now. A small practice further to this will make the things so easy that this thing will become a cakewalk for you. Last but not the least here would be, now when I know that if I have to find out the value of theta is equal to 0 degrees. So cos of theta when theta is equal to 0 degrees. So we know that cos would be cos 0 degrees is plus 1. And here we know that sine involves P upon H. So this becomes 0. Now theta is equal to 90 degrees. You see that it is P upon H. So this becomes 0 followed by plus 1. So you will see that you don't have to mug up the values. Now this again is 0 by H for sine. For cos, now we are saying what? We are saying minus B upon minus B, which should be plus 1. Now we will see, as we talked about this thing earlier also, why are we taking the value of cos 180 degrees as plus 1? This is just because of the fact that we have taken this as minus P and minus B. So this has to be plus B. Why this is plus B? Because the hypotenuse is positive in the all four quadrants that we have taken. So in that case cos 180 degrees becomes equal to minus 1, followed by, now if I have to find out the value of cos 270 degrees, it is 0 by minus P, which in this case is 0. Now using the same logic, we don't have to take this as minus P, we have to take it as plus P. I hope by now you would have understood why have we taken this value. So this is minus 1 again. Right? Followed by, now when I talk about cos 360 degrees, I should get it as plus 1. And this as 0. So you will see that for both cos and sine, the values repeat. Values repeat after every 360 degrees is what we have already talked about in the earlier sessions. After every theta being equal to 360 degrees. So we call this as time period of repetition, both for sine and cos. This becomes the time period of repetition. So both for sine and cos, just with the help of the Euclid's algorithm, also you can say that the values of sine and cos theta will repeat after every 360 degrees. I hope you would have found this session to be very interesting for yourself. The more you practice, the more you understand. The only anxiety as a learner that I would have after this session is, what was the need of drawing this circle, this rectangle, etc. I hope you would realize that these are two. Now when I am saying that whatever values we have tabulated, for example, we have tabulated the values of BPH, the values of theta, cos and sine, that we have tabulated on the basis of the diagram that we had drawn in the anti-clockwise direction, the various values of theta that we had drawn. And we'll be using the same diagram in the other sessions to decode the various values of trigonometric ratios, basically talking about sin theta and cos theta. I hope this takes your learning to a new level.